Every night, thousands of player and team props hit the books. Edgeboard runs every single one through advanced simulations built on years of historical data and services the few with the real statistical edge. Tap any prop to unlock the deep matchup data behind it. We cover every major sports league with more being added all the time. Want a parlay? Choose your book, your legs, your leagues, and how aggressive you want it. Edgeboard auto-builds the strongest ticket for you. Try it free for 7 days. After that, just $9.99 a month. Edgeboard, find your edge. Every night, thousands of player and team props hit the books. Edgeboard runs every single one through advanced simulations built on years of historical data and services the few with the real statistical edge. Tap any prop to unlock the deep matchup data behind it. We cover every major sports league with more being added all the time. Want a parlay? Choose your book, your legs, your leagues, and how aggressive you want it. Edgeboard auto-builds the strongest ticket for you. Try it free for 7 days. After that, just $9.99 a month. Edgeboard, find your edge.
Good day, folks. Thursday, August 13th. Let's talk a little bit about Code Edge. Every day we grow a little bit more. We're using our intro code EDGE here, 25% off your first package. With you, look at all the value we have. We're getting geared up for NFL. This is a year-round software. This is not just limited to specific software, specific seasons. We're giving you year-round NFL, NCAA football coming up. Cannot wait for NBA. Get Code Edge. This is going to hook you up year-round, 25% off, very cheap packages. There, looking at last night, I'm going to talk a little bit about this game, Las Vegas versus Washington. They're going to have a rematch, and we were 40% accurate on the plays of favorable matchups, 23-9 for a 40% ROI. I'm sorry, I need to wake up here. Showing that if you made $10 on each bet, you scored nicely. And then also a huge night in baseball at 46.2% ROI. Home runs was over, only 2-14, but that's what is interesting when you talk about favorable matchups. You can go 2-14 and yet show a 26% ROI. Now, home runs as a whole, a 30-day ROI of minus 23%. So home runs, including today, are often a bet that will cause you some grief in life. And so we don't want to advise that you make that a frequent play. I am actually going on 4 days now in a row of winning bets. And again, for 3 days in a row, what has been the main source of our win was me telling you to go all in on Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay again came through. You know, this is betting baseball can be very frustrating. And it's a quick, funny review. 2 days ago, I had basically a very tiny win. And I'll admit today, when I say I won, it was also a very tiny win. But what was crazy about it was 2 days ago, I had Moreno on a double streak. We bet it. He doesn't. He has a terrible game. Yesterday, now I don't bet him. He hits a home run. We went Josh Bell. He's been hot, someone to look at, bet him. He goes terrible. Yesterday hits a home run. There was someone else. Gosh, I mean, it was like everyone I had hit the home run the day after. Literally every bet. So if you go back to my video 2 days ago and you look at that, you'll see who I advised 2 days ago, and they all came through. Literally every one of them came through yesterday. So where did I hit big? So again, the lines were pretty juiced hard to see where there was money made. So I did take advantage of a 30% single game parlay boost where I did use the Tampa Bay run line, Junior Caminero over 1.5 bases, Yandy Diaz to score a run, Yandy Diaz to go over 1.5 bases. That paid plus 413. So I did not hit any home run bets, but that was basically the equivalent of a home run. Interesting. I was really frustrated when the game first got started because I went big on Chandler Simpson, who's been on a crazy hot streak and matched up amazingly well with that pitcher. They decided to sit him. So yeah, hit a couple parlays where I just took very juiced odds and made it where they were reasonable odds. So example, Jonathan Aranda, Yande Diaz, both 1.5 HRR were minus 219 and minus 286. But you combine them, it wasn't a boost. I basically got even money, hit that. Aranda single hit that. Look, I'm not going to give myself a credit that I'm not going to say I'm an expert yet at this, but I'm studying this very much. And when I tell you I've had 4 winning days, I'm telling you that I do pre-research before I come on. And I'm the only guy on these streets. I'm telling you right now, you go to channels that are telling the truth. I am the only guy who can tell you this in every single channel. Dead ass. And one of the things yesterday was interesting. 2 of these guys that I watch that do this literally for a long time, both were big on the Zach Wheeler strikeouts. And if you recall, because of that, I did not make it one of my strong plays for you. But I said, look, you got to know St. Louis weather. St. Louis, first of all, has not been a huge strikeout team. Now, granted, they have gone up in strikeouts of late, but I kind of avoided that. But what I did like was it was crazy heat. And I said, does he really go 17.5? And sure enough, they pull him after 5. Now, granted, he did get rocked that 5th inning, which I think helped secure that. But that did hit for me. The Tampa Bay, I literally went Tampa Bay in money line parlay, 1.5 run line, and 2.5 run line. So the Tampa Bay all in really was where it was at. Junior Caminero didn't have as big a game. I had him for the walk I mentioned. I thought they'd walk him. That didn't happen. I had him on the 1.5 RBIs again. He only got 1. He did not hit the home run. So I got a little hurt there. I did get hurt on 2 guys specifically. So look, I admit when I say, hey, I think these are guys that are going to do some offense. And Jordan Alvarez, he's kind of gone south of late. He's in a little bit of a funk. He had a great matchup. He did not do anything with it. 0 for there. Jackson Churio, I kind of focused on 0 for there. I pointed out that I said the San Diego at plus money I thought was some value. After I looked at the game, I was like, wow, this might not be a high scoring game. And I don't know if I love it, but I still said, let's go with it because it's a plus money play. And wow, did our software predict that? I mean, it was 2-2 going into extra innings, very little offense. Then both teams score. Milwaukee scores a 3rd run, and then San Diego scores 2 runs in extra innings. So 4-3, it needed extras to go with that. So I did hit that. I did say I liked Jackson Merrill. He hit one. He really could have had a huge game. He came through with the HRR at even money. And there was our assessment. I had one play I should have shared with you. One of the experts I watched pointed out that there's an injury on, and again, I don't follow the WNBA, but Cecilia Zandalacini is a guard, but she's a 6'2" guard. And we'll have to keep an eye on this line when they play next. I don't know when they play next. I think she's Golden State. And I think Golden State's big is out. And so they had a 1.5 rebound line, and she hit that maybe in the first quarter. She ended up with only 4, but the point was it was an outlier that made all the sense in the world. And so there we go. So at the end of the day, like, look, it wasn't a huge winning day. I actually, in my own personal records, I actually ended up down like $2 because I went with another buddy of mine that's an expert, and he was all in on Nafisa Collier 3s. And I will tell you that, and we're going to actually talk about this. I tell you about baseball, and what makes baseball tough is it's binary. It's a 1 or a 0. They're hot or they're not. They get the home run or they don't. And when it comes to 3s, I kind of consider 3s also to be kind of like a binary stat. Like, they're going to be hot, you're going to hit it. And if they're not, you're going to get screwed. And even if they have a lot of history on them, that they like, I will tell you right now, ahead of us going into NBA season, 3s just seem to me to be over bet. I kind of think they're a sucker bet. And I'll even point out one tonight that while I think it happens, I don't think I make it. So let's talk about it. I want to talk about my first play of the day. And I've been telling you about the WNBA. And first of all, I don't know enough about this sport to ever want to tell you to bet a single game parlay. I don't have many boosts. There is a single parlay boost out there today. So what I want to go back to is we're going back to the thing. I'm 5 for 5 on these, and I'm actually going to play 2 of these. And so the streak watch, we're coming down here, and what we're looking at is Jackie Young and Shakira Austin. So this is a rematch. They're playing each other tonight. What I don't like the fact that they've now moved her line back up to 19.5. That makes me a little bit nervous, that 19.5 line. When you see me bet streak watches, you're going to see me be very close to watching like what is in play with the movement. If it was 18.5, I'd say yes. You can see where she's missed a 19.5 in the last 5 games. I think that that's what I would say is more of what you would call a true line based on her, where she's at. Now, the one that hasn't moved is the points and rebounds. And granted, she hasn't been rebounding unbelievably well of late. I did look at some of her last games, and this line has been closer. Okay. But that's where I think that your outlier is, that from a history standpoint, I looked at her as a whole picture, and I think she's been a little bit below average on rebounds while she's a little bit above on scoring. So in this scenario, I feel like her points and rebounds is a strong play. We obviously look at the sim, look at the EV. I love this play. So Jackie Young, 23.5 points is my first play. The second one is Shakira Austin. And on this one, we are just going to stick with points. And why do I love that? Well, they actually moved her line down. So she was at 17.5, and we've decided to move it back down a point. Sign me up for that. So again, hitting this very frequently at the prop it's at, and the fact that it's moved down one, there really hasn't been any change to lineups. So I kind of previewed this. I'm not going to bore you with it. So I looked at this, and I think these are great individual plays. I also like looking at some options to parlay this, because this is a same game parlay. We have 2 of the 3 legs. They're going to make you go 3 legs. So I think for the third leg, what I really wanted to look at was what stands out the most for this one. And I will tell you that there's 2 people to look at. So I'm not going to search that. I'm going to get right to it. The biggest prop we recommend, and again, I'm going to let you make the decision on the third leg, because there's not a third leg that I said, wow, this is it. The prop that says you should do is AJ Wilson to make a 3. But here's again where this is like, so first of all, it's minus 221. It's not positive EV. Yes, she's hit it 80%. Yes, we say 66%. But look, she's really basically either hitting a 3 or not. It's not like back here where it was 2 and 3. Look, I'm not going to hate you for picking this. This is what our site thinks is your safest third leg of the parlay. I looked at it more as like, what's more of a safety net? And when I looked at the safety net, I think that it was focusing on points and rebounds as a whole. And what I think we do here is we buy this line down. We don't go 34.5. I think we go down to 33.5, maybe 32.5. And you say, well, Matt, she's missed this in 2 of 4. Yes. Bottom line is yes. So is that the play? I don't know. What's one of the problems with Washington? Top 25% defense and bottom 25% pace. This shouldn't be green. This is red. So what do I want to say about this? I would say that those are the 2 plays. But then I looked at probably my third play, and this is probably what I would say I'm going to go with. Now, this was interesting. I did not even mention this play the other day, but again, I watch a lot of experts. It doesn't mean I always agree with them. The team that we're playing here, Las Vegas, is the better team. So what we're showing is a 60% chance, basically 59% chance they win the money line, and it's not good value. Washington had won 8 games in a row. They're not a good team, but then they've won 8 games in a row. I mean, if you look at this, it's basically a battle of two things: a great offense versus a great defense. That's really what this is. I would say that Las Vegas snapped their win streak, and I had bet, not only had Washington won many games, but they're the underdog time and time again. And I had pushed their spread up to 7.5. It was a 6.5 spread. They lost by 10. So I actually lost that bet. I think looking at the Washington spread and boosting it even above 6.5 is a good play. So here's your 4 choices for this third leg of the parlay: Las Vegas money line, or you juice the spread higher, or maybe even you take Las Vegas and you give them a couple points. But I mean, it's already minus 238. So hate that from a value play. I think that this spread, but I just lost this, and they just lost by 10. I think it was a good bet I made last time, and I think it's a good bet, especially if you decide to juice this up to 8.5. So I'm going to leave you with my 2 plays, and maybe it is we just avoid the stupid boost, but I love the Jackie Parker points and rebound, or Jackie Young, Shakira Austin points, and then you got to figure out what's your 4th play there. If you want to go with that same game parlay bonus that's on DraftKings or FanDuel. It's on one of them. So there we go. That's my WNBA plays of the day. We're going to move over here to the Major League plays, and I will tell you that this is a really bad slate. It's a shorter slate. There's not a single game. So again, what do we really want to focus on? We generally want to focus on a game that I say, here's a highlight offense game. And I really only have one. And I will tell you that a lot of softwares out there, including ours, has this game wrong. This game, Philadelphia at Minnesota, is not in Minnesota. It's this Field of Dreams game, and it looks rainy. It looks cold. It looks like wind is in. It's a standard. People are like, oh, isn't that a small park? Like, we talk about how we've been crushing it with all that money we made on overs. By the way, I hit the over on that game yesterday too, Tampa Bay. I told you to play the over. The park has been changed to standard Major League. It's very standard. Like, it's literally, they took the standard Major League, 330 in the corners and 400 in center. There's nothing about this game that tells me that we should go. Look, Philadelphia's offense is cold. St. Louis just took 2 out of 3 from them. Kind of owned them the last 2 games. Minnesota's offense is like, ugh. I don't know if Buxton's back yet. I would say avoid that game. I want to point out what I think is some plays to look at. I will tell you that I don't dislike when you think Peyton Toll versus Max Scherzer. I think this is a trap game, and you're not getting good EVs. So I'm going to tell you to also avoid that game. Scherzer's actually pushed pretty well the last few games, and the reason why I'm not screaming to tell you to go out and play that is that the Boston offense has been just a bit of a mess of late. I do like Yankees on this game. I think that's relatively decent value. I'm not making that a play. I do lean towards the Cubs on this one, but I'll point out something else there. So do I have a play out of this? I do have one that I think is kind of interesting, and that is this game right here. I think this game, I kind of lean towards Cleveland, at least up front. Now, I will say that Cleveland's offense has been pretty awful, right? But we definitely have a better pitcher. And we have a pitcher who has been kind of back and forth in Kiter Montero. So I think there's a clear pitching mismatch here. And then I think this goes back to this Cleveland offense and me doing some reviews of what's been hot of late and what hasn't. So I think that's a game possibly where I disagree with our software slightly. I think the bottom line, guys, is, again, I don't think this is a great Major League Baseball slate. And how I'm going to make you money today is telling you to be very selective. That's really the theme of the day. I will say that there's only one bet out of all of these that I am going to make and as a play, and that is Washington and Chicago over 8.5. We show it at 55%. We do show that as positive EV. Again, I would not look at this because this is our software not knowing this is in a weird ass ballpark. I'm just telling you. So what I will say about this game is that these are the two highest run scoring teams in all of Major League Baseball. There you go. End of story. Right? So you're putting two of the highest scoring teams. Now, is Washington a shell of itself? Absolutely. No James Wood, no Luis Garcia. Is Cade Cavalli still their ace? Yes. Has he been touched up a little lately? Yes. Has Kevin Gausman on his debut shown some what actually just happened there? This is the problem with the odds reset, and this is why I keep telling my devs we need to not have the odds reset so much. This is a +4. Okay. So this is my second play of the day, and it's where I normally point out more plays. This is literally my only play for you on this game. I will lean towards Cleveland and maybe the Cleveland first 5, because that's the Parker Messick versus factor. So I'm going to say that is a very borderline play for me. I think that Detroit's as a whole has been pretty good lately. I would say that the first 5 is my lean on that game. From an offensive perspective, then we've only got really the WNBA play, and I've literally only got this one play. Let's just kind of run by these games, and I'll show you some things I want to talk about. We can kind of just go down the line. The first one is Pittsburgh at Miami. It's a bad park. I don't like the dome. Ashcraft has been back and forth. Phillips has been fair. I think that nothing 8 is the over-under that game. I would say if you're going to pick anything, and I guess I'm curious what we think here, what the software thought at the end of the day. I was going to say that I lean towards Miami, and we don't show this. So my bottom line is I'm just going to avoid the game. I will tell you this, why I'm saying this. Miami has been streaky. Ashcraft has struggled of late. So I'm not going to make any recommendations but I will say, like, if you look at the top of that Miami order, there could be a chance that you see them do some damage against Ashcraft. That's just what I'm going to tell you. The Cleveland at Detroit game. So there are some plays here that I think we could look at. And again, this is where I'm leaning towards the first 5. So first one is why. Okay. Jesus Christ. Let's go. Let's go. We're going to go from here just down to props. What I want to tell you is that Parker Messick has been good. And I do think that there is some potential here for a strikeout, but I think I'm going to pull against it. I think that this is, I would not do 6.5 strikeouts. No way, no how. I mean, even 5.5 strikeouts, we have 46%. We do consider this a favorable matchup. Here's the bottom line. They're not a great K-rate team. It's a yellow matchup. I think this matchup pretty well. I've had a few experts point out 5.5 Ks. I think it's a pass, but I think this just supports, again, like overall Parker Messick having probably a decent game, is that it's been pointed out that he matches up pretty well against that. Now, when we want to go to some favorable matchups, again, this is why I think I like Cleveland this game. And here's what I would say. There are some good lefty at-bats that I think square up well against Kiter Montero. And that is, we're just going to go down the line. And I think any of these can be player props. And this is why I think the software might have it wrong. I think Parker Messick is strong. So let's just go down the line. Stephen Kwan, one of the hottest players in baseball. He is batting .400 in the month of August. Okay. He squares up well against righties. He squares up well against this pitcher. Kiter Montero, again, we consider him an elite whip. So that is kind of interesting. I think he's been a mixed bag. So that is the risk. Let's be clear about this. I think we can be pretty comfortable Parker Messick has a decent outing. The Kiter Montero factor, if you want to look up some of his recent plays, is really kind of over. But the bottom line is Stephen Kwan, okay, second batter up, Chase DeLauder. He was literally the only batter that stood out to our software as one of the elite offensive matchups for today. So again, hot Kiter Montero, look at how he squares up against his pitches, a 339 weighted average against his primary pitches. So again, we limited history, so none of these guys are showing great history against him, but for today, kind of like it. I did not look up this guy, and I am a little curious. Look, what's hilarious is that I tell you how much I love this, and then we got Joe Adele batting fifth, who I think is dog shit, but he did hit a home run yesterday. So, hey, I mean, the guy, every dog has its day, right? He hits a home run yesterday. So I'm just curious on this one. I don't know if I probably pass on this. 208 versus righties doesn't square up on him. So I will admit on that one, not in love with Ramirez. But then here was, I ripped some of their pickups. This was the one pickup that they made I kind of liked. This guy's got a very smooth lefty bat, Nathaniel Lowe. Now, does this guy hit for power anymore? Not really. I don't think I'm banking on him for power as a cleanup guy. But again, how does he match up? 289 versus righties, squares up well. So I admittedly here, maybe not as strong. Actually does have some decent history against him, but for Lowe to come through today, I think is definitely on the chart. So the point is, you got two guys who get on base. Kwan and DeLauder, I'm actually very much recommending looking at some HRRs for both of those guys or total bases. I think Nathaniel Lowe to come through today is very much on the books. And then even from there, I'm a little surprised he's buried in this lineup. Now, again, he's not really a power guy. He was leading off for the team for a while, but Mr. Bazana here. So what do we think on him? I mean, I guess he has been a little cold of late, so maybe we avoid that. What's going on here? So he doesn't square up well. He's 1 for 1 and a walk. It's okay. I still don't hate it. The bottom line is when I looked at this, not a single Detroit player really came up as this matches up well against Parker Messick, as well as I see it the other way around. So that's where I look at this. I would say my player props are to look at Kwan and DeLauder. We're going to move to the Seattle, New York game. And what I'm going to tell you there is that I do like New York as a whole. I think Fried has a good game. Seattle's offense is absolute dog shit. It is 85 degrees with wind out to right center. And Logan Gilbert is a righty. So here is the bottom line. I will tell you right now that Ben Rice is batting 0.89 in August. I would just avoid Ben Rice. Could he hit a home run? Absolutely. I love Luis Garcia. I loved him on the Nationals. He does square up a little better. I mean, if I'm going to tell you to bet anything, like this could be a guy who does a little damage against him based on this. I think it's just a tough matchup as a whole. And it's not like Luis Garcia has been absolutely crushing it lately. And that you better be closer to plus 400, which is probably the case. So this isn't a play, but hitting 297 versus righties does square up against a fastball very well, but struggles against the slider. And again, let's not knock Logan Gilbert. This is a pretty good pitcher here. So I think for the most part, this game is a pass. I think that if you just kind of look at the Max Fried factor is probably what carries me to say that I kind of like that New York money line. That's really where we're at. So I don't have a real play on this. I think my leans are New York and Luis Garcia. I am going to literally just pass completely on Cincinnati and the White Sox. I have one play that maybe we should consider. One play. So I guess I should say there is one play. This is kind of an interesting play. Let's see if it shows up. So this game it's one of the situations where I think the game starts on time, but then the rain chances go up to 50 and above 50 as the game goes. Chicago's offense has actually been very hot of late. And so this is kind of that weird factor of like, I get that we don't love this. This is where I'm giving you some expert insight that the site really can't totally figure out. And that is under 15.5. So, I mean, you look at this, I put it this way, I probably avoided because it's minus 120. I didn't know that the odds had moved. I think this was close to even money before. And so I think I'm just going to tell you it's an avoid game. I'm just giving you a weird play to throw out there. If you want to look closer to game time, see what the weather looks like closer to game time. This one could be interesting in that the rain delay is it's got a high enough probability that in itself will mean that they pull Andrew Abbott out of the game. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to leave it at that. Boston at Toronto. This is a trap game. Look, Tolley's pitching for Boston. If you guys watch his last game, he had an unbelievable game. I'm not going to waste time with stats. Here's what I'm just going to tell you. The over-under Vegas has is at 8. Toronto is on a crazy hot streak. They're playing like motivated baseball. Boston can't score runs of late. So everything would tell you like it's Peyton Tolley versus Max Scherzer. Scherzer's actually had 2 decent outings. I've lost money on this whole screw this old man prop. He's just a smart guy, and he's kind of pitching like that. It's like the crafty veteran pitching at this point. And then Tolley, granted, I think it's just a low scoring possibly game. And if anything, Toronto has momentum right now. I just avoid the game. The odds aren't helping you here. And let's be clear, like Toronto's not a high strikeout team. So there are some people telling you to ride this Peyton Tolley train on Ks, maybe 5.5 Ks. Like, I'm not going to hate you for it. I actually think the odds are okay on that, but I'm just going to pass on this game. So the interesting one here is my one play is 8.5 Cubs at Washington. And here's what I will say. I think that there's a couple plays here that I like. I think that, again, the 8.5 is my other play of the day. I've already told you that. I have literally no home run plays for you today, except for this game. It's the only ballpark that I like left-handed batters to hit home runs. And it is 90 degrees. The wind in that park, every time, and this is one thing about this park, it's very annoying. This one is the one park that I can promise you every time I look at it, there's conflicting data on what direction the wind's going. So what am I looking at this game? I'm looking at two batters only. Pete Crow Armstrong, hot as blank, right? Does not match up great against a good pitcher. He has had some success on him. I think the bottom line is that this is just the crazy hot pit hitter in a ballpark that I like. And we're going to get, I think, even better than 300 there. So my Pete Crow Armstrong play, I will say to go with that. The Dylan Cruz play is my other one. Now, I really hope they do this again. Like, please stop leading off Dylan Cruz. I absolutely cannot stand, like, the whole point of home runs. You guys have to understand something. My take on home runs, and I get it. Ohtani does it all the time. Very first pitch, home run. Most smart pitchers, and I consider Kevin Gausman not a great pitcher, but I think the guy plays again. He's been around and he's smart. And the last thing he wants to do is throw a bunch of strikes down the middle to a leadoff batter named Dylan Cruz. Like, he's just not going to do it. So I'm sorry, not Dylan Cruz. What the fuck am I doing? CJ Abrams. I'm sorry, folks. CJ Abrams. Do not lead off CJ Abrams, please. Put him back in fourth. Now, what do we project? We project we're going to lead him off. That to me just hurts the stats. if you're going to lead him off, then you go more of an HRR play. I like that. I think that he matches up fairly well. 299 against righties, is a great fastball hitter. This guy throws fastballs. Look at his career against Kevin Gossman. So I love me some CJ Cruz. He loves to hit home runs in this park. I believe he just hit a home run again yesterday. I believe yesterday they had him. Okay, it was 2 days ago. I believe that they had him batting fourth that day. So I really just, to me, traffic is what makes pitchers. If you get some guys on base, or at least somebody on base, it forces a pitcher to realize that they can't get another person on base. So it takes the walk out of play. So what you have to realize when you lead off Abrams, it's not the end of the world if you walk him. You're going to throw him pitches that, in other words, aren't prime pitches. If he swings at something slightly out of the strike zone, sounds great. And that's what you see happen a lot of times. Like, look at Kyle Schwarber. I don't understand to this day what is actually going on with Kyle Schwarber and leading him off. To me, it's never made sense. I like offense. I like Armstrong. I like CJ Abrams. Bregman hit 3 home runs in this ballpark yesterday. I don't think this is as good a matchup, but look, I mean, again, this is back to why I just like the over of offense, because you're literally talking about this is going to be a high scoring game, in my opinion. Like, as a whole, it's a good park for offense and it's good weather for offense. We're going to go the over. I'm not going to hate if you go Bregman. I don't think that one's as good of a matchup in that scenario. We're going to move down to this Field of Dreams game. So here's where, again, I feel like it's a trap play. I think Taj Bradley, the better pitcher than Aaron Nola, but both of them have had decent stats of late. And it's, again, it's just an avoid to me. There's promos for me to play even for this game. I just, right now, I'm just in total, like, no, I'm not interested in this game at this ballpark. Philly's been cold. Twins offense has sucked. Maybe if you see Buxton back in the game, like maybe a Buxton versus Nola matchup, that literally would be the only thing that would interest me. For whatever reason, we're showing that Buxton might be playing tonight. I don't know the last time he's played. I don't know how he comes out. He was cold even before that. I mean, I don't know. Is Nola a very hittable pitcher? Yes. Apparently they think he's coming out for this game. I don't know. It's righty on righty too. For some reason I had that wrong. So to me, it's a hard pass day game. The Texas at Angels, I have maybe looking at the under. I think DeGrom and Urena are both crafty guys. I think that the Angels ballpark sucks. It's cool. It's a meh ballpark. I'm going to lean towards the under of 8.5. I guess we should go to our team matchup props just to see if what we think on that, and under 7.5. And I'm going to tell you only play it if it's 8.5. So that's my play there. If the lines move too much, you avoid it. I actually don't mind that as a play. Milwaukee at the Dodgers, it's down to 60 degrees, but the wind's out. I didn't have anything I loved there either. I think Sasaki and Drohan are both, decent enough. And I think the Dodgers and Milwaukee both are in a bit of a funk. So I did have some final other plays I want to point out to you for this day. A couple things I saw on a couple unders or overs. The one is that I do think Sasaki's decent. But I did see a couple props I want to point out. I think he burnt me the other day. We're going back down the Jake Bauers train, the lefty righty. I saw where him just to get a hit. Yeah, so for him to get a hit at minus 125, sign me up for this. I think that this is a good matchup. He faces well against him. I mean, limited sample size. So Jake Bauers, one base is one of my plays today. And then I want to talk to you about a few unders and some unders that I think had some decent value. Part of why Milwaukee is struggling is William Contreras. He has been sucking of late. I don't know why it's only showing one under now. I don't know if the books are out on this. I would not do the, well, maybe we can do the under one hit. Maybe this is the prop we can play. He's batting 139 in August. Against Sasaki, 194 against his fastball. He has had only one plate appearance, which he did get a hit. But again, this is a recent form play. And if you're telling me a guy who last 4 games has gone hitless, 1 hit in his last 6 games, and you're going to give me plus 143, I think that is an EV play there that I like. Of course, could William Contreras get a hit? Sure. But righty on righty, he's struggling. I kind of am leaning towards this. I could see them maybe burying him down to 5th in the lineup this game. Like this could be a move him down game. So that's an under I like. This other one, I don't even know who the fuck this guy is. So I don't really know what to say about this. The lineup isn't announced for it. Hey, Brian Hayes, I think you could look at under a hit or an HR. So, oh, good. The lineup just came out. There we go. Just came out. I refreshed it, and there he is. So our guy's batting 9th. I want to look up a little more on this guy because I seriously don't know this guy for Adam. All I know is I'd like to see if this is a guy that maybe they yank him out of the game early. That would make me tell you that I like it even more. Yeah, so look. 2 at-bats, 2 at-bats, 2 at-bats, 3 at-bats, 0. So what they're doing with Cabrine is basically, if I'm my take on this is correct, which this site glitches all the time. I could see this guy getting yanked. So I like the under. And I think that you're going to get paid much better on an under the 1.5 HRR or the 0.5 HRR. I mean, we're kind of showing plus EV here regardless. And so batting 120 versus righties, how he faces off against Davis Martin is not good. Davis Martin, let's be clear, has not been a great pitcher and of late. But this guy's batting, I mean, he just doesn't hit, period. This guy is not a good hitter, period. I mean, he's just, what the hell did I hit? So I do like the under, and I think it's whoever's giving you the best. You know, you could look at, obviously, could the guy walk and then score a run? I'm sure he's fast. Like, I'm just looking at this. I'm totally stereotyping, but my guess is, right, like, there's, when you talk about stereotyping, like, you look at some things and you look at this kid, what position he plays. My assumption is this guy is a fast player. So you don't, can he get a hit, right? But you are going to get better money that he can't even get on base. Could he walk? Like, this one's below 50% because, yeah, he could walk. He could get hit by pitch. Then he steals second, and then you got Ellie De La Cruz leading off, right? So that's the whole, like, why maybe you avoid this and just go with your minus one. If you can get minus 112, I'd probably advise that over the plus money here, is what I'm saying. And then Tommy Edman has been unbelievably cold and not hitting well against Drohan. So I'm not going to look that one up. I don't know where he's at in the order, but Edman is back to looking like why St. Louis didn't feel so bad about getting rid of him. There is one other guy I want to look at and see if this lineup has been released yet. Ramos for the Yankees. Again, let's not knock Logan Gilbert. I think he's a pretty good pitcher. So Ramos, I imagine he's in this lineup. It's righty on righty. And he does have 2 hits at 2 at bats. So this one has me, maybe this one is a pass, but it is plus 140. We do show it plus EV. Why am I pointing this guy out mainly is it goes back to he's batting 138. And then there was something about this too that he had 2 strikeouts at 4 at bats. They moved him down to the 5th spot for the first time since he's been traded. So he has struggled since he's been picked up from San Francisco, which anyone picking up San Francisco bats, I mean, Arias and Ramos have both kind of been a letdown of late. So that is another reason that, you know, he's not doing the job. He's overswinging. He's pressing. Like, you go into the New York media, and that can be a tough place to play. So I think that we make a play on almost all of these here. I have not released, and after I'm done here, I'm going to release my top 5 plays of the day. But Bowers for a hit, Contreras not to get a hit, Brian Hayes not to get a hit or under HRR, I think not to get a hit, Edman under 1.5 HRR, and Ramos. Oh, by the way, the Ramos play I liked more was the 1.5 HRR. That's where you really got some value. So I don't know why these aren't showing up right now on all these. That's a little odd. I don't know if some of these guys have been pulled off the props. I mean, I guess let's just look at it from a reverse prop standpoint. Yeah, HRR is not showing up right now, which is very, oh, there it is. All right, there you go. How many times has Heliot Ramos gone over 1.5 HRR? 0. So I think that's more of a minus play. Let's hope it's still out there. It was in the books earlier this morning. They might have pulled it. So he's struggling pretty bad. So there it is, folks. There's our plays today. Best of luck out there on the streets. I'm going to follow this up with a top 5 plays to pick out of this. And